Some of these memory discs would have earned me decent credits, but I didn't want to let them go. I kept them in an old plastic bag at the back of my wardrobe. Dipping into other people's recorded memories was fascinating, yet it wasn't always easy to see the significance of certain recollections at first. Sometimes they only revealed themselves on repeated viewing. I borrowed little details from them to slip into my own coding work. Often it was the most mundane things: wallpaper patterns, the damp smell of pudding cooking, the sounds of a leaky gutter in rainfall. They added atmosphere or provided incidental detail to the sprawling virtual games I worked on, and though it wasn't instantly noticeable, it gave my work a distinct flavour. And more than that, they helped me feel at peace. I pulled on my high-definition goggles and got comfortable. When the points of light danced in front of my eyes, signalling the start of the playback, my heart calmed, my worries receded. I'd given up trying to figure out why this recording meant so much to me, but I breathed easily for the first time in days. In. Sound. Like nothing else, a far-off drone. An engine? Up there, a plane scratching a line in the blue, bleary flatness of the landscape. Smells, silage, sea air, burned rubber and sweet petrol. I held her hand as she looked up at me and tried to make me smile. I was the boy, my curly hair shook in the breeze, so small, 9 or 10. It was all strangeness for seconds, and then a car passed us by, tugged at my trousers as it went. I was fully in there. We'd stopped at the edge of the roundabout, and there was no proper crossing place, just a well-trodden path adults and older children used. Over to the right was a flat-roofed pub called the Cat Cracker, all white paint and pebble dash, with large windows reflecting small houses. An estuary town, like a seaside town without the charm. We took 2 steps back as an oil tanker thundering past shook the road. I held her hand tighter and she smiled again hopefully. I'd been in a mood the whole walk home so far. Trudging along with my little sister wasn't ever easy, but on this day I'd been taking long strides, so she'd have trouble keeping up. The walk home from school was a good 2 miles, and always took us 3/4 of an hour at least. We could have taken a shortcut to the underpass, but the last time we tried that 3 boys on bikes threw stones at us. The dual carriageway was busier today. We were later than usual. I watched the back of her head, her hair curlier than mine, as she craned her neck to look out for oncoming traffic. Suddenly I couldn't feel annoyed with her anymore and felt bad for having walked so quickly. She relied on me completely to cross the road. She was my younger sister. I should have protected her. 2 more cars passed, and then our chance came, but we didn't move. "Why didn't you go then?" she said, squinting to look up at me. "Why were you so late?" I said. There were 3 years between us. I was only just at junior school, while she was still at the infants. "You could have come up to the office. I was waiting for you there at the school gates. You could have fetched me," she said. "Everyone had gone. I didn't know where you were." "I had to stay behind." "They'd gone, all the parents. I was on my own for ages." She looked down at a plastic bag in her hand, one that usually contained her school library book, but today bulged with some underclothes. Her PE kit, maybe. "They told me I had to wait for you," she said. I wanted to tell her I was worried, which was why I said nothing. And then it happened, as it always did. A strange residue, a memory within the memory, like a faint reflection in a window. I almost missed it on the first few plays. When the original subject recorded this memory trade, they must have recalled how the memory made them feel, and that too had become a key part of the recording. I felt the ache in his ribs, because at that very moment the boy wanted to hug his sister. But it was the 1970s, and 9-year-old boys didn't hug their little sisters. It was the grown-up brother who wanted to do it. The boy looked again at his sister's trusting face, upturned to him with the clear eyes of a 6-year-old, and asked himself a simple question, the only question he could ask. What happened to us? And this was most incredible because here I felt, as I always did, how the boy who was now a man looked at his little sister, and asked himself why they never spoke any more, and was saddened that no answer was to be had. "I miss you," I said quietly under the roar of the traffic. "I'm sorry I haven't protected you from this life." Nothing. End. Always shocking, even though it stopped at the same place each time, and I'm back in my apartment, flat on my bed. My experience of the recording was always the same. Aside from the strangely familiar exotica of the locale, I was drawn by the two children and how they were now doomed to repeat this memory. But the sweetness of the relationship was addictive. Any gamer could feel the innocence of their familial love, and that residual memory was a true rarity. A part of me always wanted to recode it and create a happy ending, but I knew it would lose something. When I removed my goggles, I wonder why that recording affected me so. I should understand, after all. This was my job, stitching people's memories into games. And yes, it was a very rare recording from pre-virtuality times. But even so, there was a distinctive sense of connection. It left me feeling exiled, but from what, I could no longer remember.